Our population is not going to stop growing. The demand for hunting and fishing is actually increasing, and we need to try to keep up with that.
I think a lot of us have lost access to hunting and fishing spots.
Colorado and its wildlife habitat is facing huge challenges now and into the future.
To me, it's a way of life. I grew up hunting and I live to hunt. Everything that I do is focused around hunting.
You know, I've got a new grandson. Hopefully someday he would like to hunt.
Coming from the hunting and fishing community, this is a very important thing.
My name is Don Clark. I moved to Montana in 1967, came here to teach school and started hunting here and loved it so much I'm going to stay here for the rest of my life. Well, I've always hunted, but for the last 25 or so years, I became more and more interested in preserving animals. As we get more and more people in our country and more people are hunting, the pressure on habitat and on the number of animals out there constantly increases. We need to help make systems that will preserve our animals and preserve our habitat for our future generations. Otherwise, we'll be in a situation like Europe where the rich hunt and the poor wish they could, and if they get caught on the king's land, they get arrested.
I'm John Kaywood. I'm here in Boise Valley, and a sportsman and a hunter and a fisherman and a conservationist. I believe there's over $30 million worth of projects from LWCF that have gone into Idaho, and those are everything from city parks to county parks to game ranges to preserving conservation easement areas in Sawtooth Valley, in Hell's Canyon, on the wild and scenic rivers in the Owyhees. And these are the type of things that government can do. And government doesn't have to own it, but LWCF gives them a tool maybe to preserve access, preserve habitat, and keep things pretty well the way they are.
My name's John Ellenberger. I'm a big game hunter, primarily for elk. Having a successful hunt doesn't have to be tied to harvesting an animal. I may see animals, I may have opportunities for a shot that I decide to pass up for one reason or another. Just being out there, seeing the animals, sharing experiences with friends is a successful hunt for me. Colorado has grown in its human population dramatically just in my lifetime. How are we going to be able to maintain the wildlife and wildlife habitat if we don't have the funds to purchase land or purchase conservation easements to protect habitat?
I'm Joe LaTourrette. I live in Olympia, Washington. I've lived there for 34 years. My grandmother taught me how to fish. She was a very accomplished outdoor woman, hunter and fisherman, and she used to take me out when I was a little boy in her little Ford coupe, and we would go fishing. A friend of mine and I hunted for 10 years down on the Black River, which is south of Olympia, and there was a lady down there who gave us, I think, exclusive access to her farm, and we hunted mallards and other waterfowl down there. And she passed away a few years ago, and we lost access to that river. It was heartbreaking to me and my friend both because we couldn't go there. Without the Land and Water Conservation Fund, we're going to see a definite decline in the quality of life that we have as hunters and fishermen.
Without hunters, we probably wouldn't have the wildlife resources that we have in our country today.
Good recreation and wildlife and habitat projects that can't be funded almost any other way are funded through LWCF because of its versatility.
We only have as much game as habitat allows, and maintaining the water and the land is critically important.
Get behind the full funding of the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Secretary Salazar.
Secretary Salazar.
Secretary Salazar.
Secretary Salazar.
I'd like to thank you so much for all you've done to bring about wilderness, to protect water, and to protect habitat. You have a ranching background, as do I. We grew up on the land. I know that you're looking out for habitat in our country.
Thank you very much for your support of preservation of wildlands in Colorado.
For promoting land and water conservation projects on federal land.
I know he's been very supportive of the Land and Water Conservation Fund and one of those leaders in the President Obama's administration that we can count on to help us get this fund back up to the level that it was authorized and keep it funding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.